right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to 2RightAngles, your guide to creative advertising and junior advertising portfolios. We are your hosts. I am Sarah.
And I'm Francesca. We're the two women behind Book 180, the first global 6-month, all online, 100% female owned portfolio program. Every show, we're going to feature two creative industry leaders discussing their current favorite workout in the world. And then we'll review a junior creative portfolio together.
So join us as we highlight good work, great agencies, and ways to improve your portfolio so you can land your dream job in advertising. So today, our two guests are senior copywriter Charlie Higgins and senior art director Nicole Nalazek. They're an incredible team out of Terri and Sandy, New York, which is an agency we love. They work on some really fun brands there like BJ's Wholesale Club and Plezzy, which is Michelle Obama's new children's juice drink. Before that, they worked at Brooklyn Brothers together in New York, and Charlie actually started as an account executive at 22 Squared in Atlanta, which we like to joke that he was the most unlikely account guy ever because being a creative writer just fits him so well. Check out his hilarious TikTok series called God and Angel, which he co-produces with some friends. They've got 1.6 million followers on TikTok.
Wow. They've spoken to us before about the importance of getting down and dirty with executions and just making cool creative work on whatever budget or scale you can. This comes across so well in Nicole's portfolio, where she has a really cool section called Experiments in Type. She's created typographic designs out of Snapple, juice, jam, and even a raw salmon. So we're really excited to hear what they have to say about Michael Regan's book today.
Regan.
Oh my God.
Okay, welcome, guys. We are so happy to have you here. Here, I'll just put two E's in it there for you. So that's how I have to see it in my head now. And then you're right. It can probably just be Snapple. I wrote Snapple juice because it's like the actual juice, but people just call it Snapple. So we can just say
Okay.
then just raw salmon, which I thought was weird. Okay. We'll do that one more time.
Yeah. Do my eyes look like I'm looking at my script?
I mean, yeah, but mine do too. I can't not. I don't know.
I know.
It's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. I'm just gonna try and not move them so much. Put it like right where I would normally look.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe that's a good way to do it. I have like made my notes thing really thin, so it's kind of just, I don't have to like actually track across so far.
Okay.
All right. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to 2RightAngles, your guide to creative advertising and junior advertising portfolios. We are your hosts. I am Sarah.
And I'm Francesca. We're the two women behind Book 180, the first global 6-month, all online, 100% female owned portfolio program. Every show is going to feature two creative industry leaders discussing their favorite current workout in the world. And then we'll review a junior creative portfolio together.
So join us as we highlight good work, great agencies, and ways to improve your portfolio so you can land your dream job in advertising. So today, our two guests are senior copywriter Charlie Higgins and senior art director Nicole Nalazek. They're an incredible team out of Terri and Sandy in New York, which is an agency we love. And they work on some really fun brands there like BJ's Wholesale Club and Plezzy, which is Michelle Obama's new children's juice drink. Before that, they worked at the Brooklyn Brothers together in New York, and Charlie actually started as an account executive at 22 Squared, and we like to joke that he was the most unlikely account executive ever because he is just a writer at heart, and that fits him so well. Check out his hilarious TikTok series called God and Angel with 1.6 million followers, and he co-produces it with some of his friends. It's hilarious.
They've spoken to us before about the importance of getting down and dirty with executions and just making cool work on whatever budget or scale that you can. This comes across so well in Nicole's portfolio, where she has a really cool section called Experiments in Type. She's created typographic designs out of Snapple, jam, and even raw salmon. So we're really excited to hear about what they have to say about Michael Regan's book today.
All right, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We're so happy to have you. All right, do you want to do it one more time, or do you feel good about that?
Yeah, let's do it one more
time, and then I'll have a few to choose from and cut them together.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to 2RightAngles, your guide to creative advertising and junior advertising portfolios. We are your hosts. I am Sarah.
And I'm Francesca. We're the two women behind Book 180, the first global 6-month, all online, 100% female owned portfolio program. Every show is going to feature two creative industry leaders discussing their current favorite workout in the world. And then we'll review a junior creative portfolio together.
So join us as we highlight good work, great agencies, and ways you can improve your portfolio so you can land your dream job in advertising. So today our two guests are senior copywriter Charlie Higgins and senior art director Nicole Nalazek. They're an incredible team out of Terri and Sandy in New York, which is an agency we love. And they work on some really fun brands like BJ's Wholesale Club and Plezzy, which is Michelle Obama's new children's juice drink. And before that, they worked at the Brooklyn Brothers together in New York too. And Charlie actually started out as an account executive at 22 Squared in Atlanta. And we like to joke that he was the most unlikely account guy ever because being a creative writer just really fits him very well. Check out his hilarious TikTok series called God and Angel. It's got 1.6 million followers, and he co-produces it with some of his friends.
They've spoken to us before about the importance of getting down and dirty with executions and just making cool creative work on whatever budget or scale that you can. This comes across so well in Nicole's portfolio, where she has a really cool section called Experiments in Type. She's created typographic designs out of Snapple, jam, and even raw salmon. So we're really excited to hear about what they have to say about Michael Regan's portfolio today.
All right, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, no, of course.
Thanks for having us.
We are currently in an edit.
A remote edit.
But we tasked our editor with we gave him marching orders for different 15s he can put together. So he has things to do for the next hour, and then we'll go join him again.
Perfect. Okay, well, we like to start these out by, and no pressure if there's nothing that pops into your head, but like, is there anything out there in the world right now, either at your agency or at another agency, that you are currently loving? You think it's like a great example of advertising out there?
I got served that Samsung flip phone horror ad on Hulu last week, and I burst out laughing.
I'm loving the classy jazz in the background there for you guys. It's really going to add a lot to this. I'm obsessed.
Have you heard about this Samsung flip phone or whatever? Apparently, you only have to look at it once, and then it gets like stuck inside your mind or something. And the only way to stop it is to switch.
That was like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no way I'd ever switch to Leave. Now.
Don't look! Hey, it's my favorite jacket! Keep moving. They're everywhere. No.
Hey guys, what's going on? Something wrong?
It's great for group shots.
It's great for group shots.
Cindy, no! Guys, we got Cindy. Let's go.
I can't see anything.
Run!
We need to get out of here.
Don't look. I didn't see anything.
Seriously, what's wrong?
Go!
Should I call for help?
Got one. Go!
And then it gets like stuck inside your mind or something.
Derek? No.
Is that the new one?
It's so funny, and I have so much respect for brands that can make fun of themselves and lean into to the humor of like, oh no, flip phones are coming back, but it had nostalgic elements which are always going to get me. that like summer camp horror movie parody. I just thought it was so good and so fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's like old school advertising. Like, just it doesn't have to be so serious. It doesn't have to be sad advertising. It can just be a great piece of entertainment.
Absolutely.
That is what I like the most, just regardless of advertising. Like sometimes, obviously, it's great to have projects and make things that mean something and push the world towards a better place. But at the end of the day, just a simple idea that is humor based and fun, I think, is what we're missing a lot in advertising sometimes. So when you do see that, it just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
What I like right now, not necessarily old school advertising, but kind of. I was like, probably most creatives was just like going through all of the Grand Prix winners at Cannes and just doing all of that. And one that I like just really loved was the Stella Artois, this museum based thing that they did, which they found all of this public, like all the public domain art is able to be used by like any advertiser. I think as of like 3 or 4 years ago. What they did is they found all of these different paintings that have beer in it that were around the time that Stella Artois was first like invented, which I think was in like the 1300s. And then they found the probability that the beer was actually Stella Artois. And it's just like kind of funny, but very witty. It's really, really smart. And it looked like a really good ad, but it was a painting from the 1400s, which is just kind of awesome.
And it was beautifully designed too. Like Charlie sent me the case study and I was like, this is like a mini documentary. I'm into this.
How do you guys think the creatives thought that up in that room when they're like, all right, we're from the 1300s. There probably weren't many beers around then.
So fun.
Yeah, the origin story. I'm always trying to figure that out when I see things.
That one feels like a non-briefed idea. Like someone who's maybe on the creative team like saw that you were able to use public domain stuff, and there's so many just like jovial jesters and whatnot, like holding beers, just like making the connection, like, wait, that like could be Stella Artois. I don't know if it had a brief, because it just feels too organic and kind of like perfect for that brand. Something from our agency though, I feel like we have to say something that Terri and Sandy that
they were obsessed with Terri and Sandy. We love you guys so much.
They're so cool.
It's awesome.
And like the agency's awesome. Both Terri and Sandy are the greatest people.
I got to do an agency tour in person a couple of months ago, and it was so cool to see it in person.
I was out of town. I remember hearing from.
I know. I was so bummed you weren't there, but you were like shooting at some magical location. Like,
yeah, the magical land of Bulgaria.
Sounded very exotic.
Which it actually kind of like.
It did sound magical. I got to hear the stories, and it did sound magical.
This creative team recently did a launch for this brand called OVH, Orchard Valley Harvest, and they created a little character called Ovi, and it is just so funny and like kind of raunchy, like right on the edge of just like,
and it's like, how does it feel in your mouth or whatever, like just weird.
Yeah, the kid with the headgear.
Yeah, he gets a kid to cut his headgear off.
I have to live vicariously through you. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Hey, buddy. You just gonna sit there staring at your nuts all day?
What?
Come on, eat some of this delicious OVH cran-nut mix.
No.
Least you got a mouth. All I've got is the desire to vicariously snack through you. You know what to do. Go on. OVH smells good.
I feel like they probably were able to sell it through because it's a character that also is made out of their logo, like the OVH. So it like looks like a little guy.
That's what made it different. Every agency and every client's like, I want the logo bigger. And this is like literally the character is the logo.
And the fact that it has so much personality but doesn't have a face makes it even better.
And you know what I love about that? It's like it technically breaks all the rules of advertising that you learned. Like, you're not supposed to make a character. Like, if there is like true humor in it, and then it doesn't matter. Whatever rule of advertising doesn't matter.
Talking to the team that worked on it, they said the client really wanted to push the humor as well. So it's just so nice to hear about clients who also want to push things to a funnier place, get away from those more addy ads.
And it's a campaign that has like, it's got good 30s, good 15s, but weirdly like really funny fast 6s, which is how like it's good.
I love it. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that work. So fun. Everybody, if you haven't seen it, you'll be watching it here. But today, let's move into the next phase. So today we're going to be talking about Michael Regan's portfolio. He is a recent art director graduate out of Book 180. We are absolutely obsessed with him. He's currently in Chicago. He's looking for his first junior role. And as far as like a creative who loves just like get dirty, get his hands dirty, making cool shit, like he is 100% your guy. He at Book 180, he designed his own typeface called Witchmonger, and not only did he design it, but he like programmed it to actually work with a keyboard in some special type program so he can type with it. And so his whole portfolio is written in it, which is really cool. And his work on PETA placed in the Young Ones this year. So you can check out his whole portfolio at michaelregan.work. But okay, so when you guys got to his homepage, like what are your first impressions of Michael's book here?
On first scroll, I love that you can already get a sense of the things that he cares about. Like, you're not just seeing those brands, you're seeing those brands attached to things. So like, I mean, even just seeing PETA in that first slot, because that's what I'm always looking at when I come to a website. What's that first tile? Because that, to me, that's the best piece in the book. That's their favorite piece. So it's cool seeing right off the bat that there are things that give you a feel for personality.
100%.
And I love that it was all in the typeface that he designed. It's super impressive. And it's like to see someone in school who's taking the initiative to not only design something themselves, but like go that extra step and be like, well, how do I figure out how this can be on my site and used across everything? I think it speaks to a really great work ethic.
Yeah, you can tell he knows how to design just on the homepage. Because the homepage looks solid, and like the fact he even like put in little stamps. He's got, like, the best semester. He's also got the young ones. It's just he's already customizing his homepage, so like that's cool and does stand out.
100%. I also just like, it's so minor, but I really just love how the work like scrolls behind his name there. Like, it's just different than any portfolio I've seen lately. Just feels different, in a really good way.
It does.
Yeah.
And it really just, the whole thing feels like him. Like it does. I know you guys don't know him really as a person yet, but I can like feel his personality through it, which is so nice.
Nicole, you're right. Like, he just has so much drive. Like, what's we love about him is that he just has so much passion, so much drive. Like, he would Slack us or Zoom with us just in between classes being like, hey, I had this idea for blah, blah, blah. Like, not a brief from my class, but what do you think about it? Which I think this is indicative of somebody who's going to be so successful in this industry.
Absolutely. When you can't even help yourself from coming up with ideas.
And I think regardless of what level you are, that is so key. But as a junior or an intern, I think that is what makes you stick, and what makes people like want to specifically if you're an intern and you don't know necessarily if you're going to get hired into a junior role or not. If you are like raising your hand and you're asking the right questions, that's just going to make you stand out. So you can even see that in his About Me.
Yeah,
like it seems like
great. Do you guys go to About Me first? I usually do, but I think that's a complete. Yeah,
I look at one project and then I go to About Me and then I go back to the projects.
All right, I love that.
About Me first.
You do?
I don't know if I've ever really thought about that, but now that you ask, like I think I just have to see it off the bat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have learned through talking with different recruiters at our panels and then doing this. And we've had several episodes so far where it is one or the other. People are like, absolutely not. I would never look at the about me before looking at the work. And then other people are like, absolutely, I look at the about me first. There's no question. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I think I remember when I was putting my portfolio together, I overthought my about me so much. So maybe that's why I must have changed it like 15 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I feel like I go to the about me first sometimes because although I totally understand the perspective of not wanting your mind to be muddied by who this person is, I feel like sometimes you get into the agency world and you're working on your clients and you got to make them great, but your about me page is just complete freedom to do whatever you want. And if somebody's about me page is just amazing, I will be more, I don't know, more like lenient, I think, on the work. I'm like, well, they have a creative bone in their body that, like, I love it. I love about pages. So, hi, I'm Michael. I'm a musician, stand-up comic, photographer, graphic designer, video editor, and event producer. People sometimes say I'm a jack of all trades. I've heard it as both a compliment and an insult. I don't call myself a jack of all trades, though I prefer jack of whatever brings me happiness. I'd accept dude that gets the job done or your future junior art director as well. And this is Michael.
Yeah.
I'll say why I like it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I think like the whole doer thing, instead of just saying like I'm a doer, he first like highlights what he does, and it's not just I'm a creative, like I live and breathe advertising. It's like he likes doing things. He likes doing a lot of different things.
He really does.
And then he takes something like jack of all trades, where like it could be a compliment or an insult, and it could be like okay, like referring to yourself as jack of all trades, but like kind of turns it into a joke while still like I wouldn't say it's self-deprecating, but it makes you sort of get like a feel for him too through the writing. So
yeah,
I like it. And it obviously it sells him, but not in a way that feels like overly selling.
And I love an art director who can write. So it like when I go to an art director's about me page and it makes me laugh and it makes me enjoy the writing of it, I immediately have some more respect for them as well, because they're bringing that other skill set to the table.
Also, Nicole can write.
It's so funny you say that, Nicole, because
he's gonna love to hear that.
Yeah, Michael will love to hear that. We have had a couple of conversations with him about how he loves to write and design, and he for a minute wasn't like 100% like when he first started which track he should take, and we were like, well, you like design, which he clearly loves design. We were like, be a designer that can write, because that is like the creative like unicorn out there, like the best.
That's what everyone wants.
I had the same toss up when I was in school. I took my first copywriting class and I like had an existential crisis, and I was like, what should I do? And my professor was like, well, you'll still be able to do both. You need to choose the one that you can't not do.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's such great advice. I love that so much. And yeah, like when I was in the agency world, I like loved my art directors so much when they would also just like throw a script in. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Like please more. Like let's just get some scripts, get some thoughts, get some one-liners in there. Or art directors that are good at writing, I feel like they're so good at being like, what if the headline were just da da da? And you're like, yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to say. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, because we can tend to overwrite sometimes.
Right.
We'll just like overthink it. And then you get this crazy lot of thoughts written down, and then Nicole will read it and be like, what if you just said that? I'm just like,
but it's already there. Yeah. It's already there.
Yeah, it's like saving us from our words.
Saving us from ourselves.
It's selfish too. The design looks better with a little less copy.
A little less copy. Yep, 100%. Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I also love that like he set up every one of his pieces with like a really conversational insight,
Yeah, so by the time you're looking at the work, you've gotten context, but it's not 5 paragraphs worth. It's just a little bit of a setup.
Yeah. 100%.
It's big. So it's easy to read. Which is
very big. But it's a different design. I think I told him once, I was like, do you want this to take up the whole page? And he's like, yes. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
There's such a there's I don't know, there's like two ways of thinking about that. Like you first see it and you're like, oh my God, it's just a lot of writing because it's the whole page. But then you stop and you're like, wait, it's actually not that much writing and it's so much easier to read. Like the only way he'd ever get into trouble for this is if someone had that initial first thought of just like, this is a full page of writing. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's 3 sentences.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, and this is just like a testament, I think, of recruiters who are too busy and creative directors who are busy. But even me, like when I get into the work, I'm already sort of mid-scroll. Like I'm kind of already like past the thing. And then I have to go back up. But I feel like you cannot pass by this up here. You're going to be like, okay. You're scrolling halfway down and you're like, fine, I'll read it. It's right there. Busy. But even me, like when I get into the work, I'm already sort of mid-scroll. Like I'm kind of already like past the thing. And then I have to go back up. But I feel like you cannot pass by this up here. You're going to be like, okay. You're scrolling halfway down and you're like, fine, I'll read it. It's right there. I'll read it for anybody who's not looking. So, PETA, you don't have to bet on dogfights or keep an alligator hostage in your basement to be guilty of animal cruelty. All species are victims of humans' willful ignorance and unchecked superiority complex. So we created a test to make people confront their cruelty. Click the video below to learn more. So I'll hit play real quick. What did you guys think about that?
I thought it was so smart. I was vegan for 9 years, so I know a decent amount about animal products, animal testing, but just to see how simple it is to go through and tap and look at these everyday choices that you make and make that connection to how they're actually affecting animals, how it's actually affecting the environment is like everything starts with awareness. So I think it's a really great way to just educate people more, get them thinking more about those choices, because it's truly on every level of purchase. It's making a difference.
Yeah, I mean I think what it does best is it just puts it into perspective, and I think that's sometimes has to be like our job as advertisers. Like not everyone immediately like cares as much because they don't think what they're doing is affecting animals or affecting XXX problem, but like putting it into perspective and putting it into this very simple design that you can see and it just makes sense. Like you can see your cruelty score is something that people can hold on to and actually like instead of it.
Yeah.
I like that it's fully designed out too, because you don't always see that when you're looking at spec apps. Sometimes you'll have a few different frames designed out, but to really see the full flow of it gives a way better idea of what questions am I actually answering? What does the score actually mean? It helps the idea a ton.
Back to his first write-up, after watching the video and everything too, I would almost lose the second paragraph. Or like that coming afterwards as like an explanation for after the video. But I'd rather get people to watch that video first, and then you don't run into the problem of having like a page of text.
Yeah, I think that's a really great tip. And it's also just about like presentation theater, right? Like if you don't have to bet on dogfights or keep an alligator hostage to be guilty of animal cruelty, like click the video.
Kind of like it's a little bit of a question mark there. But interesting question mark.
That's a good piece of feedback.
That is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also agree. I love that he has these framed out. I feel like the only thing he could do to improve this, I mean, he's designed the whole wireframe, is to like freaking make it clickable at this point, like
Yeah.
on Figma, you know, like
Yeah.
show people scrolling through. I mean,
Up.
well,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And then I also really enjoyed at the end, they have a storefront where they've like aggregated, you know, cruelty-free products.
Yes, actually helping people take action.
Yeah, it's a solution there.
Really smart too.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, it's not just presenting the problem. They took the step to be like, all right, now what do we want people to do? Shop.
Yeah. This
You know?
this part of it feels like if this was in the real world, that would be like you could see a news article written about that. Like this feels like it could actually get like some.
And especially depending on like if this were to launch, what day would it launch? And is there something to do around that? That's always a conversation piece in briefs of like, when's the moment that this would get the most traction, that people would actually want to talk about this?
And it's like, obviously that's not part of this idea. That's not necessarily like the core of the idea, but it just helps tell the story in like a more smooth way.
Yeah, 100%.
No, this is great.
Yeah,
we love this one.
Okay, so his next piece is for Home Depot, and he created this activation called the Junk Swap. We'll show you the upgrades hiding in front of your eyes. That the rising prices of homes mean that less people are able to move into their dream home, but everyone has a junk drawer full of random hardware. So let's allow customers to swap old parts for new tools to renovate their home.
Interesting.
I'm so used to seeing any kind of hardware stores. You're always seeing just like someone using a power drill. It's always very, it always feels very functional. So to have something that feels thoughtful and designed immediately catches my attention.
But I think sometimes, and maybe I'm like overthinking this or like overlooking at it, is like in portfolios when you're advertising like something that you've invented, it can be like sort of confusing because it's like he came up with this whole like new idea, like this whole thing that like Home Depot doesn't do this, I don't think.
No, correct.
No.
He invented this idea at Home Depot.
So that's why I think like before the prints and everything, maybe you'd want like just like one paragraph about like how the actual thing would work, and then maybe an image to go with that as well to sort of help it like wrap up in your head a little bit clearer before you see the prints, because the prints truly are great and they advertise his idea, this invention, like really well. And also I think it's a smart invention, but I think that's like the one thing where it requires you to be a little bit more like you have to connect the dots a little bit yourself instead of like seeing it happen on the page.
I agree. I feel like there should be like an end cap or like an information table set up in Home Depot, right? Where you see this little new section of this booth in the store called the Junk Swap.
Yeah.
And you kind of like maybe even see a few this equals this. Like if you bring in like a broken saw and like a bucket of nails, that is like the cost equivalent to a can of paint or whatever, or like what the system is a little bit, just a few things of setup in the beginning. I think would be really cool.
Because what's really smart about the idea is not only is it great for the consumer to be able to do this, and it's a truth, like everyone has this junk drawer, but you are going to get people through the door. So like not will they participate in this thing, but then they're in Home Depot and they might buy other things.
They might buy other stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because typically in student books, I see the reverse problem where people have the idea and then like they'll have the booth and then they don't have any advertising for the idea. And you're like, how would people find out about this idea? But he has all the advertising for the idea. He just has to do a little bit of setup a little bit before. I agree.
Like the one image and just one sentence about like, and this is here would be, and now you're getting people through the door. Like, I think it's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it could even be pushed further too. It's like I love all these designs. I love seeing the individual tools, but I feel like there are ways you could do like a table saw and maybe put some like weird tools that maybe someone inherited a bunch of things from a grandparent. Just different ways to bring it to life. I'd also be curious to know, is Home Depot doing a recycling program? Like, where are all the things ending up? Are they being used to create something else? Is it simply to help people empty their spaces? Just a little more around all the thinking behind how this came to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And is there a little insight there that you could add into the write-up that's like, studies show that people who have like fresh, clean spaces are more apt to renovate those spaces or feel burdened by the home that they live in or whatever.
I don't know what the studies are, but that is true.
Studies would prove that.
Studies.
Personal testing.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I also, this is super minor, I wonder if it should be, and it's funny because I think Francesca and I are looking at this again with fresh eyes after like a month or so.
Yeah.
Is it going to be, should it be everyone has a junk cabinet in their garage or something? Because I feel like drawer takes me right to nails and rusty.
Yeah.
Bigger stuff,
Right.
Or a junk.
Junk. Yeah. You can even just like say junk.
Yeah, everyone has junk in their garage. Like,
regardless if you're in an apartment or a house, like you have somewhere full of junk.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And one nitpicky thing as well, because I noticed on PETA there was the paragraph that started before the video, and here there's the problem, insight, solution. I think choosing a format to use across the website is I find it helpful. And it helps me, it creates a language for the site so I know how I'm going to be interacting with different projects as I go through.
Okay, we'll go through a couple of more pieces. So let's go to the Beats one next, and then we'll jump kind of toward the end. But so this was done for Beats headphones and AARP. Emerging research has shown that listening to music can have a positive effect on cardiovascular health. The baby boomer generation may not know it, but they're in the market for some new headphones. So if you were to partner with AARP and put these headphones on famous rock stars, that could be a way to sell Beats. And this would be an ad inside the magazine. Gone are the days of constant thrills, sleepless nights, and loud music. These days, the music may not be as loud, but it's just as vital. That's where Beats come in.
Yeah. No, I love the insight.
I love the insight. I feel like in the creative, I'm missing some of the cardiovascular element of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's great. Yeah, great feedback.
Well, it's because why I really, really love the insight, and I think it plays into like a huge trend, is like wearables are so massive. So like all of this like information and all of this technology and tracking is actually possible. So I think like where my girlfriend works in this field. So I actually know like there are like, this is a true insight. And I think there's like actual statistics that back it up. And this does seem like the sort of claim that like you're talking about people's health, that where like a statistic would really help you like sell it and really help you kind of like understand like, no, you're not only listening to tunes, like you're giving yourself like 75% more chance of like living past something. I don't know.
That's cool. Like as if that were like sort of the headline.
Yeah. And it's like music heals. And like I think there's so many sort of lines about how like music is like good for your soul and good for things. To like take those sort of statements and turn them into like factual statements. So like kind of like a riff on like music heals the soul. Whereas like music heals the soul by like 75%.
I think too, maybe visually seeing people in motion or seeing people a little more active, just imagery that kind of gets you more into that cardiovascular space could be helpful.
That's also great feedback. Yeah. And I think that like, it's cool to see that he can, design longer copy, but I think you're both right with with a couple of images that hint at more movement and joy, and then a line that's music heals your soul and your heart, for instance.
Yeah.
And
Nice. So I was trying to
like
say.
no, you said that. I just repeated. Music heals your heart or your soul and your heart, and then copy that's so hear it most clearly on Beats, a product benefit of why Beats over other headphones,
Yeah.
that I think would just be a little bit shorter and simpler. Yeah.
But the overall insight and the thought is really cool because it gets you to think about music in a different way. It gets you to think about music as healing, which is pretty awesome.
And I could see Beats being a company that actually funded research into this, and maybe the copy on the ads becomes a little shorter, but maybe there's a site that it goes to
learn
where you have little mini docu-series on different people and how music has helped them, has brought them more life. Yeah, I feel like it could expand into a variety of different content research.
That's really cool.
That is really cool.
Boomers would love to read that. They would just be computers all day reading that. I love that. I do love the tagline "Boom with Beats." It's so perfect for this campaign.
Yes.
So smart.
Okay. Also, real quick though, I love that tagline, but I didn't notice it.
Yeah, I didn't notice it either.
Yeah, it's small.
It's subtle.
I mean, it could be on the image even. Big.
Yeah.
It should. That would, because even sometimes you use almost a tagline as a headline, and then because that's such a good line.
Such a good line for this campaign. Boom with Beats, it could not be more perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And even designing that a little more as a lockup, and maybe that lives at after that initial write-up, we see the write-up, we see Boom with Beats, and then lead into the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that so much.
Yeah, that's great feedback.
Really great feedback. Okay, let's see. I love this campaign. I want to know what you guys think about this campaign. We're going to jump right to Long John Silver's. This is a campaign that him and his writer, Ruby Kinney, they came up with outside of class. They developed it a little bit in their maker culture class, but it was something they came up with on their own. One's a bustling fast food chain that captured the hearts and stomachs of Americans around the nation. Long John Silver's is struggling to stay open. So stemming from social media discussions, bystanders have deemed the chain to be nothing more than a front run by underground advocates. Lean into that and show the world who's really keeping them in business, and that those who secretly love the brand can join them. So introducing the Secret Society of Long John Silver. If you get into this menu, you'll have a loyalty card, you'll have honors unlocked, you'll have a secret menu that you can take part in at the restaurant. Because you're part of the sea. You'll have swag that's really well designed. And a L, a J, and S in there. It's very fun.
Sick.
This is super sick.
Yeah. And this is their crew member.
I haven't thought about Long John Silver's in years, and I'm having flashbacks to eating hush puppies as a kid, and just the smell of grease wafting through the air.
Drive by a Long John Silver's and you can smell the grease in your car. How?
Yeah. It stuck with you for days or weeks.
Yes.
It's kind of like glitter in that way.
Yeah. All right, and they have a few ads. We've always been around. You just didn't notice. Legends never die. You weren't really looking, were you?
They this goes with it. Okay, what I love about the ads at the bottom is it brings the tongue-in-cheek feeling of having him and Jesus, his wide eyes. Is that actually John Silver, or is that a pirate?
Do not know.
I almost want to see these first.
I know. I get that these are a little perhaps a little blind without seeing the beginning.
Yeah.
But God damn it. I some way to combine it a little combined. I always fuck that word up.
Combined.
Behind.
Bonded.
I have like 5 or 6 pretty simple words that I mispronounce, and it's the word. As like someone whose job is words, it's probably not the best look. Something about getting that feeling and him into some of this like really clean design, because the design does have like that feeling of like secret societies, and like you can tell me to shut the hell up.
No,
this isn't.
You got eyes too.
Piece, but I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but something about like the look, like if we go back up to like the like welcome aboard and like things, like it is so clean. If there was something that gave it a little bit more like tongue in cheek, like if like behind the secret menu you all like saw Long John Silver's like stare or something, like I don't know, it would make it be slowly. That is great.
Yeah, kind of
faded in.
Weave the two together. I like that.
I agree. Go ahead, Nicole. Sorry.
I was just gonna ask. If we could scroll up, I forget how people get into this secret society.
I think it's just probably an open invite, which makes sense to me in a way.
Yeah, I think it's, you're right. I think they could probably give that. I think that in their heads, they were hoping it would start to become viral on social, but they should probably spell that out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I also
even ads that run that are kind of cryptic and secretive, but like flash some little Long John Silver's things in it.
Like join the society, like secret meeting here, and it's just like the location of the Long John Silver.
Yes. I mean, it could be like, fake Long John Silver ads where it's just like it goes statically and flashes like secret meeting or a QR code.
You've been selected. If you're seeing this, you have been selected.
Yes. Yeah. That's so fun. I also think if they did put the ads first, I feel like if they hinted a little bit around like we've always been around, you just didn't notice, that's what a secret society means, like Long John Silver. Like if they put that a little bit in there and then just like a QR code would be great for them.
Yeah. And I like the idea too that, because I love this line, we've always been around, you just didn't notice. It feels like it could lead into it so well, because it's like the person who sees this and cares is the person that's going to be in that secret society.
So sorry, final note. This is so fun. It's like a pretty great idea because it just gets your like brain going and you start thinking, but good builds. Even in the write-up, like his second sentence of like stemming from social media discussions, bystanders have deemed the chain to be nothing more than a friend. Maybe you could do like just like a couple screenshots of like some of the tweets around it.
Like them talking about the people talking
about some random Joe Schmo being like, Long John Silver's like, how is that thing still around? Like,
show don't tell.
Democratic corruption.
A crazy like Reddit thread on it or something.
That's a great headline for them to use for something. That's hilarious. Absolutely. I feel like showing that story and just kind of letting the user in on the journey of what's happening would be really, really fun.
Yeah. That's a good call. Yeah.
This is great.
It's so fun.
I love this.
It's so fun. There are so many, it's one of those pieces where there are so many good pieces. There's so much cool design. And I think a lot of it is just how it's presented.
Yep. Which actually is a really nice segue into the third kind of part of this whole podcast. But if there was something that we could take away from our discussion today, that we could leave juniors watching this with a little piece of advice on what to do in their portfolio, what would you think that might be?
I really think it comes down to presentation and how ideas are presented and set up. One thing I'd say to folks just coming out of school is that you don't know how long someone's going to spend with your portfolio. So you have to do everything you can to make that story as clear as possible, make them laugh, really bring them in so they want to spend more time. And I think it's little things like consistency in how things are presented, really making the copy clear and concise, and doing that second, third, fourth, fifth pass, asking friends to look at it and say, seeing this for the first time, what are you getting out of this?
That's
and doing that trial and error to make sure by the time a recruiter or someone who's going to help get them that in has the time to look at it, that it's really putting their best foot forward.
That's sort of what I was going to say. Our industry is consumer facing, so it's like anyone should be able to understand it, like your mom, your friends, whoever. So as embarrassing as it can be, it's hard to get people to like stop and really look at your work, but your best friends might. And if you can show this to like your best friend who is like a finance major or whatever, and they understand it, then you're good. Like you're golden. Like
I love that. Yeah.
And it's, I mean, which can be frightening because like that's the other part about this job that is wild is like you're sharing your ideas, your actual like that come from you. So sharing them with your friends and family is frightening. But like if you get them nodding, you're gonna get a creative director nodding for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's such great advice. Oh my God. Well, thank you guys both so much. This was incredible.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah. This was lovely.
And a big thanks to Michael. We love looking at your work again.
Yes. Really great work.
Yeah. Like overall, like truly great work. I've also met him, great guy.
He's great.
So,
he's a really nice guy. I mean, honestly, any agency is going to be super, super lucky to have him. It's like such an odd job market right now with like lots of hiring freezes and lots of just, I don't know, just layoffs and weirdness, but it's going to bounce back. And like,
you're seeing some sprouts of hiring, but like overall it's still.
You are.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to end up somewhere really, really awesome. I mean, he wants to start out in Chicago, but I see him being in New York or LA. Like
he's open in New York later. He really loves it.
Yeah.
We'll convince him now.
Yeah. Move down.